What is going on, everyone? Nintendo Fanatic 64, and I'm here bringing you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Today I'm actually bringing back my Ancient Gears. I haven't been able to secure the cards I need to show off some new deck profiles, but as soon as I can try and get the cards secured, I'm going to be doing another Dark Magician once I get the rest of the stuff I need for that. I'm also working on a Cyber Dark deck with the new support that recently came out, as well as a Red Eyes deck potentially as well. But in the meantime, I figure I'll do an update. I did one back in April, so it's been a few months, and I've made some changes to the deck. So I figured we'll showcase that off now. So if you do enjoy the video, I hope you leave it a thumbs up. And this is just what I have available to me. If you have any suggestions of your own, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I do read all the comments because I'm always looking for any tips or tricks or any other ideas that people might have. So to start off, we have three of the Ancient Gear Wyvern. It's a really good card just because it helps you search out for any other Ancient Gear card in your deck. It can be a monster, it could be the spell, trap, whatever for it. It's just really good. And then after it's summoned, I think it's also like you cannot set cards for the rest of the turn, but you can still activate other cards, which is really nice as well. In addition to that, I have three of the Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, the main fuser of the deck, because when it's normal summoned, it inflicts 600 points of damage, and then, hang on, let me see if I can focus this slightly. I can see it's slightly out of focus here. Come on now. But anyway, when it's normal summon, it inflicts 600 points of damage. Try to see. It's kind of better on it, but inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent. And then then the normal thing with Ancient Gears, when it attacks, spells and traps can't be activated till the end of the damage step. But once per turn, you can fusion summon one Ancient Gear fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material monsters. So really good to get some other stuff out. Of course, the main big beater of the deck is the Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, which I'm running two of. Has two different effects depending on if you special summon it with a Ancient Gear or with a gadget monster, but I usually don't summon it using that as well. I usually just go straight for special summoning it using like Gear Town or something else to that effect. I do also have the one Ancient Gear Golem, just because it's kind of a standard in an Ancient Gear deck to run. I mean, it's a 3000 beater that your opponent cannot activate. What is it? No, actually, yeah. Your opponent cannot activate any spells or traps till the end of the damage step. In addition to that, I mean, it inflicts piercing damage as well, which is really nice. I am also running three of the Ancient Gear gadgets. Really nice because since it has only 500 attack, I can even use machine duplication to get all three of them out and go right into a Deco Talker if I wanted to as well, which is pretty nice. To help get him out as well, I have the one Ancient Gear box. When it's added to my hand, except by drawing it, I can add another Earth Machine type monster with 500 attack or defense. So Ancient Gear Gadget obviously runs that. So that's about it for the actual Ancient Gears monster cards into the deck itself. And then for other cards I have in here, I'm running, of course, one Gold Gadget, one Silver Gadget, just to really kind of help get me into some rank 4 plays. I can even use it to go into use it just to help get other monsters out there for it. And then I'm also running one Cyber Wizard. I think that's how it's pronounced for it. It's good because then I can switch target to, I can change like a monster's into defense position, and consider if it has like lower defense than attack, then it's good, especially if I have like my Ancient Gear Golem or even the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, because it can inflict piercing damage, which is really nice as well. And then another one I'm throwing in here, which has kind of worked out before with me in the past, is Link Slayer. Link Slayer, of course, can be special summoned if I control no monsters, and then once per turn I can discard up to 2 cards, target that many spell or trap cards on the field and destroy them. So that's really good for helping me get rid of some of the either my opponent's back row or even helping me get rid of things like my Gear Town and other things like that. So I find it's, niche in it, but it does tend to work. But that does it for the monster lineup. Moving on into the spells, I'm running 3 Gear Town. If you don't know what Gear Town does, basically you can tribute summon Ancient Gear monsters with one less tribute, and then if it is destroyed, I can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from my hand, deck, or graveyard. So usually I use it to go right into my Reactor Dragon. To help me find that, because I do want to try and get this into my hand turn 1, I do also have 2 terraforming. I was debating about putting it up to 3, but I'm just going with 2 for now, because I kind of like the balance I have. I don't know what I would switch around for it. To help me pop the Gear Town, I do have, of course, 3 of the Ancient Gear Catapults as well. And then, basically, if you control no monsters, you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring the summoning condition. So you can actually go in and special summon the Ancient Gear Golem, despite the fact it says cannot be special summoned on it. And then, if it's in my graveyard, I can also target one face-up card I control, destroy it, and if I do, I can special summon one Ancient Gear token as well. So I can use... I can only use the effect once per turn, but it's really good, and because if I don't get it in my hand turn 1, and I need to still destroy like my Gear Town, I do have one Foolish Burial Goods just to help try and get it into the graveyard. So that way it's kind of like having another Ancient Gear Catapult at my disposal when I need to. I do also have 2 of the Ancient Gear Fortress. So basically, if you don't know what this one does, when Ancient Gear monsters are normal or special summoned, they cannot be targeted. I think, like, what does it say? Your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects. It just says card effects. So no monster effects, no spells, no traps, nothing. Basically makes them immune for the turn that you do summon them, which is actually really nice. I do also run 2 of the Ancient Gear Catapult. This just helps get me some extra buff to my Ancient Gears, because they will gain 300 attack, and then every time a monster is normal summoned or set, I can place a counter on it, and then I can use it as a tribute for some of my higher level Ancient Gear monsters if I need to. So that's basically for the for those part of the spells. I do have other spells in here, of course, as well, because you can't have Ancient Gears without fusion. So I do have 3 different types of fusions. I have Future Fusion, which is just, I use this usually to try and get the Ancient Gear or Chaos Ancient Gear Giant out by sending the monsters from my deck to my graveyard. The only reason why I prefer to do that is because I do have the one Overload Fusion, because since Chaos Ancient Gear Giant is a Dark type monster, Overload Fusion, if my Future Fusion gets destroyed, I can actually just pop this and get my 4 Ancient Gears out that I need to get into my Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which is really nice. And then, of course, really good standard, because if you can pull it off, you can OTK your opponent with Power Bond as well, because if you can do this with the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, it becomes a 9,000 attack monster, which is just, nothing is going to stop it. So it's kind of a standard, I would say. And then, since almost everything in here is machines as well, we do also have the one limiter removal. So if you had to, you can make that 9,000 into a 18,000. So really strong stuff. I do have one Soul Charge. Of course, I do have the one machine duplication. I might bump this up to 2, but I'm not too sure what I would take out. If you have any suggestions of things that might not be necessary, let me know. I'm also running one just for draw power, and I only usually will play it once I kind of have the setup I need for it. I know some people might not like it, but I want to try it out. It is going to be the one Pot of Desires. So, I mean, you banish the top 10 cards of your deck, but then you get to draw, 2 cards with it? Yeah, so, it might, stink getting rid of, 10 cards out of a deck, especially with a 40-card deck. That's a quarter of your deck. But usually when I go to play this, I've already got everything I need out on the field and don't have anything to worry about. So that does it for my spell lineup. And then moving on, I only have 2 traps. I have the one Ancient Gear Reborn, which is just nice. If I have no monsters, I can target one Ancient Gear monster in my graveyard, special summon it, and then it gains 200 attack. Even if the Ancient Gear Reborn leaves and the monster's still in the field, it will gain that 200 attack. And then one, just because I think it's a great overall trap card. I could also throw in like the Solemns and different things like that, but I have the one Dimensional Barrier. So, if I don't necessarily go into any of my extra deck stuff right away, I figure this is a good one, because you can, for the rest of the turn, that nobody can special summon it and then negate the effects of all monsters that have that type. So, I mean, it's pretty decent, especially if I use it during my opponent's turn for it. So, but that does it for the actual main deck. Let's go ahead and go off into the extra deck. So with the extra deck, of course, we have to run the two Ancient Gear or Chaos Ancient Gear Giants. Like I said, 4,500 attack, doubles to 9,000 with Power Bond, and is unaffected by spells and traps. Opponent and attacks every monster that my opponent controls, and then does inflict piercing damage as well. So, I mean, it's really nice card and really hard to stop. Because of how this works out as well, I have 3 of the Ancient Gear Howitzer. Once per turn, basically, I can inflict 1,000 points of damage to my opponent, and it only takes 2 Ancient Gear monsters. So usually I would go like my Ancient Gear Hunting Hounds, inflict 600 points, sacrifice it, get Howitzer out there, and then deal another 1,000 points of damage. It's already 1,600 points of damage on my first turn for it. So that's it for the fusions. I know that there's another Ancient Gear fusion, but I don't have it at the moment, so I just have those for right now. For my Xyz monsters that I'm running in here, I'm running the 1 Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. It's really good because you can just detach and then target 1 machine type monster you have on the field, and it can attack directly that turn. It's the only monster that can attack, but it can be really good, like, Klitsch near the end of the game to try and get like the final points of damage on it. I also have, of course, the 1 Gear Gigant X, just to help me get some of my monsters. Search for the ones that I need help finding for it. I also just threw in here just because, I needed something else in here. I mean, this is something that can be easily taken out, and I will take any suggestions. I know Abyss Dweller is a big thing, but I do not currently own that at the moment. But I have 1 number 70 Malevolent Sin. Just nice because, gets problematic monsters out of the field for the time being, just to let me do my attacks onto it. I'm also running 1 number 59 Crooked Cook. He's really good because when if I special summon him on the field, I can actually destroy, like, what was it? Yeah, well, I control no other cards on the field is unaffected by other card effects. But once per turn during either player's turn, I can detach 1 material from it, destroy as many other cards as I control as possible. Then it gains 300 attack for each one. So you can use it to pop your Gear Town. You can do it to pop the Ancient Gear Fortress, just to get yourself even more Ancient Gears on the field for it. And then the final 2, which is kind of, I think, are standards in just about every other deck out there. The 1 Castiel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer, and then 1 Diamond Dire Wolf, just because it can pop itself to get out of the way, especially with how link formats work, which, of course, we do have links in here. Of course, we are running 2 Deco Talkers, just needs to be made with 3 effect monsters, which just about everything in here is. I'm also running the one, like, for this, because almost every monster, with the exception of, like, the gadgets, and I think also, like, the gold and silver gadget, and then the 1 Cybers Wizard, almost every other monster in here is Earth types, so I'm running the 1 Mrs. Radiant, since it only needs 2 Earth monsters to link summon with it, and then all Earth monsters will gain 500 attack and defense, which is really nice. I mean, it makes it from 14 to 19, but it can make like a lot of big things out of my deck as well. And then also just the 1 Proxy Dragon, just to kind of help me fill out my field with links if I need to for it. But, I mean, that's really about all that I have in here. And like I said, if you all have suggestions that could be helpful for the deck, I would greatly appreciate it. Like, I'll just mention off, like, one of the combos I did mention, talked about earlier. So, essentially, like, one of the things you could, if you really... like, if you really want to go off with something here, if you can draw... I'm just trying to get some ideas of what all I have... Let's see. This needs to be in. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of making this last one up kind of as I go with it. Alright, I'll do that one. Like, if you can get something, even along the lines of, like, like, one of the things I would say, like, almost a similar hand. Something of like these cards are really nice. Like if you want, like Ancient Gear and Machine Dupe have to be in the same hand to really be nice because essentially you can go turn one, go into the Ancient Gear gadget, Machine Duplication, pull out the other two, and then go right into a Deco Talker, which is pretty nice for it. But you would also, another thing would be getting, what's the one other card I need? Is like, if you even start off with something such as like, Gear Town and Link Slayer and something else, you can easily just go like Gear Town, then special summon the Link Slayer, activate its effect, discard a card, destroy your Gear Town, get an Ancient Gear out on the field, and you still haven't even normal summoned yet, so you can then, I don't know, like, again, if you get like, again, like, ideal world, perfect opening hand would be something like this with one other monster on the with one other card in your hand. Doesn't matter which one, because you would just go Gear Town, Link Slayer, discard your one card to destroy the Gear Town. Then you get out like your Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, let's say. So then you have. I'll just pull it out now, just so you can kind of get a sense on it. So then you'd have those two out on the field. It's already 5,000 points worth of damage, and then you can go ahead, continue flooding the field, go into the Ancient Gear gadget, go with Machine Dupe in order to pull out the final two Ancient Gears out of your field. And then you can go ahead and just link summon up, the three Ancient Gears and just go right into that Deco Talker, which is really nice as well. So then you have, like I said, that's already going to give you so much benefit, especially if you do it right. Put the Deco Talker, set it up something like there for it, and look at that. You have your Deco Talker will then have, what is that, 3,300, plus you have a 2,000 and a 3,000 on the field. I mean, that's pretty good stuff right there, in my opinion. Another good thing to start off with is if you just start off, Gear Town right away, and then obviously, like I said, you want to try and start off with either Ancient Gear Catapults or Foolish Burial Goods with that one, because then you would just go, play your Gear Town. If you have Ancient Gear, play it, pops Gear Town, and then you get two giant Ancient Gears right on the field, and you haven't even summoned a monster yet. And same type of thing, you can just go like, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of ways to try and like Oko opponents' monsters with it. But I mean, like I said, this is just, my play on Ancient Gears. If you do have any suggestions on what you would do to improve this deck, or if you have your own version on it that works really well, let me know down below, because I'm always looking for ways to improve this deck. And then, like I said, coming soon, I'm going to try to do deck profiles coming up for my Cyber Darks. I'm also going to try and do another one for Dark Magicians, and then I also have one I'm probably going to try and do Red Eyes as well. So those are projects in the works. I just have to get the appropriate cards for it. But if you do appreciate this, I hope you do leave it a thumbs up. And like I said, let me know down below what you would do to help improve this deck. Thank you all very much for watching. You have yourselves a good day. Take care and goodbye.